Hello everyone, it's Cisco Cracker or Coop. Just doing a little update video about my passenger seat. See the inverter's out back there on the firewall. It's as close as I can get the seat to that inverter. It is on the rails and does slide back. You can see where that power's going through the firewall. So this is the Lamborghini replica fiberglass seat shell, and the way I've got mine in, I try to put the back up level with the bottom of the back window and just get this corner just inside the quarter glass where it wouldn't interfere there, you know, just as close as I get to both of those as possible. The seat is really close to the console, but it should clear the console. The piping might actually rub on the leather on the center console potentially. I've got a bit of a gap here, but there's a big sill going to go in over here too, though. So I'm using the sliding rails from Camaro. I think it was a 98 or so Camaro. And, you know, they bolt right into the locations in the Fiero floor pan, because all these things have been the same forever. I did trim this tab down a little bit. You can see that's been cut. Hopefully you can see that's been cut. That helped out. My light just went out. Need a fresh battery for that guy. We'll be right back. So here we go. Alright, I'll replace the battery and move the light. So there's the guy down there. I cut it with my plasma cutter. Also cut some height out of these rails with the plasma cutter and welded them back together. Just in the rear only. The front is really flush on these things as they come. And then I made these little feet. Fabricated these little feet that go from the rail up to the bottom of the seat. And you can see where I was writing in all my measurements and things about center to center, front to back and all this. And then once I had the feet in there, I had to rotate the seat front to back to get the angle right. See if we can get in the back here where you may be able to see these guys. They're shorties in the back. It's holding the shell down to the rail. And now on this rail, I made them all equal, and then I realized the right rail on the passenger side, you can see the hole where the foot's supposed to go, and I actually drilled a hole further forward and had to flatten that steel out a little bit to accommodate for that. It's because those factory seats, that hole is in a different spot on the passenger on the outboard rail than it is on the inboard rail. But anyhow, hopefully this will help somebody if they're trying to tackle what to do. You can get F-body seats, you know, F-body being the Camaro and Firebird, and just steal the hardware off of them. On the other side, on the driver's side, I've got power seat over there to tackle yet. So I think it's still going to be the same thing. You know, I'm going to just take the rails and then make my feet and weld them up and screw them down. And then, you know, you can see I pop riveted these tops on just to hold the seat. I don't know how I can do this and show the rail sliding, but maybe this will work. So you can slide it front to back and then make it latch. It works fine. You can see I got a lot more room back here to the inverter than I had earlier. So, you know, it slides a good 5 inches, I'd say, front to back, which is fine. I mean, you get up close to the dash now with your knees being slid all the way front. I'm sure I'll probably leave it slid all the way to the rear. So anyhow, there you go. Just use some existing rails, cut the backs down so it sits a little closer. I knocked about a ½ inch of height out of that. If anybody's wanting to know how much height to take out of the rail in the back, I just cut a ½ inch down, welded it back together, made parallel lines, cut it, welded it. That was it. And then these feet, you know, what I did was I made a template out of a piece of wood. I laid it up against the side of the seat so I would know what that curvature looked like. And then I just laid the steel right up against there, you know, took measurements, cut it with a portaband saw, and then, you know, I even cut this angle into the metal when I cut it on the portaband saw. Then I took another little piece of flat and I welded on top, so that gave me a top and a bottom on a piece of angle. I just used a piece of angle and then welded a piece of flat top and bottom. And then I drilled the bottom out 5/16 18 threads per inch, and then got the body bolts from Tractor Supply, and they went straight through the original holes and bolted right in. I could have reused the bolts that are on those seats that came with the Camaro, but I was leaving that hardware with those seats for resale. So, I mean, these worked out to be the same. It's probably the same size, or it's the close metric equivalent. That might have been on the Camaro seats, I'm not sure. But you could have used the body bolts out of those seats and ran them up through the rail and drill and tap the this guy, just like I did here. I just drilled and tapped this guy. So, and then the top, I just drilled a 1/8 inch hole all the way through and shot it with an 1/8 inch rivet all the way through. And, you know, it'll hold good enough for now and until I figure out what else I'm going to do about how I'm going to secure the seat to those feet. And I think the very bottom of the seat is actually resting on the rails also. So there's 6 contact points friction-wise. 4 of them are really, you know, taking the brunt of it, though, being the rivets. But yeah, it's plenty strong. You start multiplying those things. Plus, you see I've got the big fender washers on it to spread that load over more fiberglass than just the 1/8 inch hole. And you see that original hole I had before the other one, and the seat back was sitting up too high, and the corner was over here by the quarter glass. That corner was really close to interfering, so that's what I did to adjust that. I just slid it down about 3/4 of an inch. I believe that's what that turned out to be. So anyhow, anybody working on getting your seats in, that's one way of doing it. Thanks for watching.